Hashtag #RFLASB, Bike With Me 5, Historical West End Cemetery. Death defines our humanity. This little bridge we're coming to enters the park kept for the Supercars annual event. However, it also was a flood dump for white goods in the big flood. To the left, over the road here, is a park for the missing people of Australia. Townsville has 9 burial places, including a pet cemetery. I'm showing you one of the older, although there are burial sites everywhere and dating them is hard, so where the oldest burial is a matter for the researchers. There are several graves in unknown locations. When surveyed in 1865, the cemetery was well outside the town boundaries. Now it's right in the middle of it. By the 1890s, West End was a thriving suburb as well as a commercial and business centre, and the state school, which you just saw there, had been established on the reserve. It has Memorial Gates. West End Cemetery contains many substantial headstones, and I'm entering from the lower left corner of that picture there. And it has many quality design and high crafted tombstones which illustrate trends in Queensland monumental architecture from the 1860s to the early 20th century. The oldest headstone in the cemetery dates from the 4th of March 1868. Materials include marble, sandstone, granite and concrete and pebble mix. It was surveyed in 1865, was Townsville's first official cemetery and second burial ground. Prior to 1872, there was no official administration of West End Cemetery. Eventually it was gazetted and trustees were appointed. As the suburb grew, concern was expressed that the cemetery was badly located at the base of Castle Hill. We are coming up to a gully which you'll see running through it. And so in 1900 a new cemetery reserve was proclaimed. The sale of burial plots at West End Cemetery ceased in 1902, but the cemetery was not closed at this time. I notice families up to recent times have had ashes deposited here. In this part you can see the reinterred bones on the plaques there from damaged gravestones. And this gully right through the middle of it isn't the best thing to have in the cemetery. In December 1971, Cyclone Althea caused considerable damage to headstone trees, and vandalism, of course, and neglect added to the damage. In 1996, the City Council commissioned the preparation of a conservation policy to give direction and guidelines for the future care and maintenance of the cemetery. Trees do an awful lot of damage to old graves, and what's unusual with this cemetery is 7% had those iron gates all around them. Very unusual. Now, we came up to the gates, we're leaving, and I want to show you some of the things that sort of another memorial that's at the gates of that old school, lest we forget World War One. And you can see the old style buildings, anything built around that period, 1880s through to 1910, and it's all been preserved. And we need these big walkways in these hot areas. But we're coming up to something, because death comes in all forms, and I wanted to show you that building. I think was built somewhere around the 1930s, and it went through being a nightclub and now it's a health club. And we're coming up to something which was very important to me, and was something that died because of the millennium recession, which pushed it into another history. And it was an art gallery, and it's where I had a lot of shows, and it's all been vandalised and burnt out, and that's what it looks like from the outside the road. That's one of those shows. There's a deputy mayor opening one of my shows, and there's some old buildings from the railway. History is death. Something has to die to make it. Even there at the corner is the local gay pub. Okay, bike with me 6 is up to the Ross River Dam.